Though this is a message for you, this is a message for many. December 23rd, 2020. For many of you, it is hard or challenging to let go. Or move on or walk away from things that no longer serve you, situations that no longer serve you, relationships that no longer serve you. And when we say no longer serve you, what we mean is situations that have become toxic to you, dysfunctional to you. And if they've become toxic to you and dysfunctional to you, it's actually toxic and dysfunctional for all that are involved, whether they believe it or not. But sensitive souls usually find it challenging, and it's due to your own versions of childhood trauma and things that you have usually worked through or are working through. And in some cases, it's just the sweet personality or high heart energy. But high heart energy that's not properly balanced soundly into wisdom or grounded into Gaia or into the third eye. So that creates the challenge. But this is what we want to say. It's going to sound very cliche, and it's going to sound almost too standard. Like standard modern psychology, but it really isn't. And to some, it may sound harsh. It may sound vindictive. It may sound abusive. But it only sounds that way to those that are operating in a certain program and frequency. Here's what we want to say. Every human has to reach their unique own version of rock bottom before their own unique version of evolution can emerge. Every human has to reach their own unique version of rock bottom before their own unique version of evolution can emerge. Does it have to happen that way? It doesn't, and it does. It doesn't, and it does. Sounds kind of like an oxymoron, doesn't it? It doesn't, and it does at the same time. And the reason why it does and it does, because you as humans are infinite, powerful creators, more powerful than you know. This is why it does and it doesn't. So until you align with your divinity, in essence, you create and have to go through these cycles, if you will, to get you to these places, to get you to where you want to get to, if that makes sense. This is why we said it in this way, your unique version, because everybody's version is going to look different, you see. And this is what can become very dicey, because sensitives and people that just simply care for others often want to intervene. When you care about somebody and you see somebody hurting, you often want to intervene. You often want to make it better, or if not intervene and make it better, make it less suckier, right? As you watch them ruin their lives, or what you perceive as ruining their lives, and in some of your cases, since you're highly intuitive, what you know. But see, here's the thing. You're supreme beings, and you have a divine right to choose your chosen path. However that's going to look for you, with its bumps and bruises, it may take an individual a very long time in a sense of the human perspective of an experience in the 3D to get them to where they want to get to eventually, if that's what they've chosen. But when humans intervene, those that care for others, here's what we want you to catch. You may feel like this is a loving action and you are showing them love, and they may even insinuate that, because often when people are in low frequency and density, they are often just they're seeking pleasure. So yeah, they're going to seek the feel good. And you all may think this is a loving action. I am being supportive. I am backing them. I am showing them that I'm not like the rest. I am showing them that I will be there through thick and thin. I am showing them that I'll be there no matter how horrible they treat me. That I can absorb their abuse because I know where it's coming from. You may think that this is going to get them to the finish line of their evolution, the finish line of their growth, the finish line of healing, the finish line of transitioning through one season or the next, but it's actually the opposite. It keeps them right where they're at. We're going to give you a true-to-life example in terms of just human experiences. Let's say, for an example, a teenager or a young adult that grows up kind of privileged, and the parents never really instilled any principles in the child in terms of responsibility or accountability, or never taught the child self-sufficiency, and in a healthy way, mind you, but they never did that, and kind of just showered the kid with everything, no expectation, no balance, and no matter what the child did or said, and just did it, and the child grows up. Now the child is 25, now the child is 35, now the child is 45, and the child never went to school, never went to college, never had a job, never did anything. They never expected it, never discussed it. The parents are growing old. The child didn't have siblings. They didn't teach the child social skills, etiquette, anything. The consequence of that will be that child is now an adult that has been disabled by way of their environment and conditioning to function in a healthy and balanced way with the external world, and now has an entitlement belief system that everything is to be automatically showered upon me just because. And there is no expectation. I do not need to treat people a certain way. I could be mean, I can be rude, I can be insensitive, and I am still supposed to get what I want and need out of people because that is the environment in which I was reared in. I don't need to have a job. I don't need to contribute to society. I don't need to give back equally to others because that's not what anyone said or did. It handicapped that particular individual. The parents may have thought that they were loving and helping that child, but they were not. They stifled the growth, the potential for that child to be a healthy, balanced adult in the world. As it is with you all and what we're saying in terms of sensitives, over-nurturers, over-givers, and those of you who may find it challenging. And we are attempting to empower you as you close the year out. In love, though, please hear this from soul love, because this is actually a loving act. The root is codependency, comes from traumas. But it's one of the most loving things that you all will ever do. Letting go. And you know when something is not serving you. You all know when something has grown toxic. You all know when something has gone dysfunctional. You do. You really do. It's inside of you. You sense it. You feel it. You know it. In some cases, it's just brutally obvious, okay? You don't need to go ask someone's opinion, and you certainly don't need to ask those that are involved, because chances are they're not going to see it that way, and they certainly are not going to tell you that if they're benefiting from the dysfunction. This is not about judgment. If you truly want to help those that you say you love, and that you have been in complicated relationships with that have grown too heavy and toxic, you all don't have a right to change them. That's something you all will have to accept. That's the human greatest lesson is no one has a right to change or attempt to change no one. Everyone has a divine right to their chosen paths, no matter what this looks like, no matter how this unfolds. But you also equally have a right to your happiness, and to align with that is conducive to that. And if you love someone, sometimes the only thing left to do, the only thing that you can do, and that's the highest version of love left, is walk away. Sometimes, and we know many of you have gone through this cycle time and time again. You want to be understood. You want to make sure you said everything right. You want closure. You want to make them understand. Sometimes you'll never get them to understand. You have to accept this. Sometimes people aren't in a place at the moment vibrationally to understand, okay? So it's not a matter of the way you explain it. It's not a matter of how soft you say it. It's not a matter of if you say sorry or I apologize 20 times. Some individuals are not vibrationally or consciously in a place in those now moments to understand. Some of you are going to have to get used to not being understood. That's some of you all soul's journey. Being all right with not being understood. Being all right with being misunderstood. Being all right with being judged. Being all right with being blamed for things that are totally askewed in nature. Again, sometimes the only thing left to do is nothing. Sometimes the only thing left to say is nothing. Sometimes the best thing left to do, hear us. And again, take this with wisdom. We're talking about case scenarios where you've exhausted everything you can, where you've given it all you've got, where you have had every conversation you could possibly have, where you've tried to explain everything you can. In tarot, they would say where you've gotten to the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Wands with individuals. This is what we mean. So we're not talking about being fast and loose and fickle in situations. We're talking about those of you who are loyal, and most sensitives are. So when you know that you really have, and your soul essence does know that you have sincerely checked in with your heart, you have sincerely tried to give something all that you've got, you have sincerely attempted to communicate like an adult, time and time again. Then it's finally time to know that there is no further closure to be had, no further conversation to be had. And then for some of you who are listening to this, you also need to know that sometimes there's a season for different things. Some of you would say, well, can we be friends with people? Can there still be like interaction? That's going to be case by case, and you need to be brutally honest with yourself. Because if something is super toxic, there may need to be a season where there's no activity. And if you're super vulnerable and you know that you're super vulnerable, it may need to be a time period and of a refrain from all kind of connection. And for some, it's indefinite. It's a case by case basis, but don't judge it. Don't put yourself in a box or limit. Some you may reconnect, some you may have a friendship, and this can be family, friends, co-workers, lovers, case by case, but release the attachment and the expectation altogether and ask for help. That's the most loving thing you can do. And here's why, and we're going to let you all go. We started this conversation by saying every human has to reach their unique version of rock bottom in order to reach their unique version of conscious evolution. And as long as they have high vibrational, unique, sensitive souls that are buffers in their lives, it continues to delay their process. Sure, they will continue to find people that perhaps you would say they're going to continue to find people they can manipulate and get things out of, if that's who they are, if that's how they're vibrating. Sure. But eventually, all of that starts to fizzle out. It starts to be only that they are in vibration with. So they may still get people that they're in vibration with, that maybe they can get some certain stuff that they want. But then people die off and other people go on, or, it just starts to fizz and fizz and fizz. And then they hit their version of it, as did you all. You all hit your version of rock bottom. Most of the time, sensitive souls are forerunners. And because you are forerunners, you all usually go through your process at an accelerated rate of most of humanity. So understand and know, when you start to question yourself about your choices, know that you are doing a loving act by stepping back and walking away and allowing people to go their path. Don't judge them, don't attach, but don't feel the need to go back and explain or try to make them feel better and try to compensate. Allow them. And then protect your energy. And we don't even want to say protect. We want to just say honor, because you have a right to feel good too. And when individuals are operating in the lower vibration, you going back to constantly try to check on people that you walked away from are often going to project and lash out. And you don't deserve that. You don't. Understand and honor your own divinity and energy, knowing that you deserve to feel good. You deserve bliss and happiness and nurturing and support and people and exchanges that can honor you and care for you. Though you may be an evolved soul, you're not here just to simply be the brunt of other people's lower vibration. Everyone has to make their own choices and deal with the effects of that, including you. You're not the cleanup crew. And that's a part of your journey, understanding the balance between that. You're not the cleanup crew. Okay? We send you all love and light. You deserve your peace.